Hey guys, Al here. So what we're going to talk about today is how to gather leads for newsletters. Yeah, I get some people that say, okay, I understand. I gotta build a newsletter list. Yeah, but I don't know how, or I can't get my list big enough. I only have 30 people. Yeah, it doesn't matter how big your list is right now. Start. Okay, if you got 10 people, start with those 10. If you got 20, start with those 20. Whatever the number is, start with it. A little key phrase I want to throw in there is size doesn't matter. Now, what's important with a newsletter list is how warm it is or how hot the list is, which means how responsive they are. Okay, so if you're using a newsletter program, which I highly recommend, because most standard email providers, aside from the fact that it doesn't look professional, they're going to limit how many emails you can send per day, and it's a real pain in the butt adding everybody to the email each time. Even if you have a group, it's a pain in the butt. Get yourself a newsletter program. I'll add some links below this. I know we love MailChimp. I love it. There's a lot of better stuff out there. I grew up with MailChimp and I've always stuck with it. And again, I added a link below. But it's simple, it's very easy, and they even have a free option. If you got under, I believe, 1,000 subscribers, it's actually free to use their service. So anyways, going back to the newsletter list, with that tracker, with the newsletter program, it's going to come with a tracker, and you can track not only how many opens, but how many clicks. I always put clicks that we're going to talk about in the further email, just so that you can see what the true responsiveness to the newsletter is. Often I'll put a click just for something very, very simple, and the reason is the click allows me to see if they're actually reading the newsletter, because sometimes if I'm just flying through my email and I'm hitting delete, if you have another like a subframe underneath it, the email gets automatically open before you hit delete. And that messes up with your open rate a little bit. But regardless, so the standard industry open rate is very, very low. But at our studios, have always managed to get 20, 30, 40% open rates. And again, they're a little misleading sometimes, but we've had a very, very warm list. And in a further video, I'm going to show you how to make your list very responsive. And then I call it training your list. And it's amazing what a list that's well trained will do for you. Okay, so a couple ways to gather leads. I've got right here, I'm actually at the entranceway, newly renovated entranceway of my past studio, Family Kickboxing. I thought it'd be fun, and we came back and we shot a series of videos here, just so I could show you around a little bit and kind of let you know what we did in real life. So I've got a sheet right here. I know you can't really see it. We've always called it a congratulations sheet, but it's a disclaimer. It's a one-page disclaimer. It's got your per Q on there. And as soon as a client comes in the door, they have to stop at this counter. It's the first thing they see, and all the clients get funneled by this counter. And they cannot enter the training grounds until they've signed this sheet. And in this sheet, I've got everything from the standard disclaimers as well as the per Q, things like little tips, if you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. I have things like take your time, go nice and easy. Okay, off topic, I know. But I have things that, like pictures and video, may be taken at any time. Okay, and that way there, and it's not the exact wording, but that way there, if you have a big class and you want to take a picture and use it for a newsletter later on, you can. But I also have on here that your email will be used or will be added to the newsletter list to stay up to date with the new programs, Family Kickboxing. But I write on there as well as schedule changes and whatnot. That way there, they know you're not just sending them junk, which I'm going to show you how not to do. But you're going to send them useful information, and just by adding something like schedule changes, well, if they are a client, they need to know if the schedule's changed. So this kind of gives them a little bit like, okay, fine, I'll stay on the list. So that's one way, is just as soon as they come in, hit them. They have to sign the disclaimer. We have name, phone number, email on there, and they got to sign it all. And my receptionist was perfect. And if something wasn't filled in, she would ask, oh, can I get your email so I can send you a schedule? Or something very simple like I talked about in the other video. Another way is Facebook. Now, don't just bombard Facebook. Okay, don't post on there, join our newsletter list, join our newsletter list. There's a better way to do it. And I actually add a link below this video, and I believe it's called ShortStack. And they could build, those tabs like likes, pictures, videos, groups, or whatnot. Well, you can get one that says newsletter. And in there is where I would generally post my opt-in page, in that tab there. Now, you can set your Facebook to land automatically on that tab, and they have to go to your wall. I find that really annoying. The point of a Facebook page is to have clients go into it all the time and frequent visits. If I'm a regular on your Facebook page, and I always have to click go to wall. I find that really annoying. Yeah, so I don't do it that way. Some clubs do, teach their own. A few more things. My biggest way I built a newsletter list was simply by talking about it indirectly. I mentioned this in the video earlier. If I'm in class, okay, I'll say, oh, and we're going to do this drill. I talked about it in the newsletter the other day. You guys are all ready for it. Let's rock and roll. Or if I'm talking to somebody in person, I'll say, yeah, we just done an awesome newsletter on exactly the problem you're talking about. If you want, I can send it to you. What's your email? Send them the newsletter, add them to it, whatnot. Now they don't miss out on these useful articles. Another big way that I did it was indirect testimonials that aren't huge things. But I'll write things like if I'm writing an email to somebody, I might write at the bottom, this person, I love your newsletters, Al. At the bottom of my email, just as almost like a signature, just leave it in there, and I'll have to get people that email me back. How do I get on that newsletter? Or if somebody emails me for information, a prospect that I've never met before, and they say, yeah, I'm interested in joining, I want to lose 10 pounds. I'll say, that's great. I just wrote a story about somebody who lost the exact same thing. Lost 10 pounds, lost 50 pounds, lost 100 pounds. We just talked about it in the last newsletter. Would you like me to send it to you? So every lead that came in, I talked about the newsletter like it was the go-to place almost before the website for everything about the studio. So gathering leads, building that newsletter list is not challenging. One thing I would often do is if I wrote a really good kick-ass article, I would write in there, if there's somebody that you think could use this, forward it to them. And we had a forward link in there as well. And it's amazing how people, I had clients come in and say, hey, I want to join your club. I have been on a newsletter list for a year and a half, and I don't even, I've never been in your club. I don't even know anything about you guys, but somebody sent me your newsletter. I subscribed, and I've been reading it year after year, and they're finally joining. That's fun. I actually had one lady, she joined and she said, I finally feel like I have to email you and tell you I love your stuff. And she said, I got a new job, and the person who worked here before was subscribed, and the email just kept going to that same job, and she just started reading them, and the next thing you know, she was a client. So there are people on the newsletter list that I don't even know where they come from. The only thing I find is sometimes it's hard if you just write join our newsletter, because everybody knows the norm out there is people send shitty newsletters. So I got a reputation for sending really good newsletters. And we actually write a lot of newsletters for clients of ours. But I wouldn't say just join our newsletter. I'd say, hey, if you want this free report, which we're going to talk about later, if you want a story just like yours, if you want how to lose 25 pounds, how to stay motivated over the summer, I just wrote an article in the newsletter. Always information-based. There are a ton of other ways to get subscribes. At Boost, I would often write the coupon, join our newsletter, get a free 2-free coupon, go to this link, opt in. I already mentioned videos, or sort of opt-in pages on the Facebook pages, all over the place. Another thing I would do is I would send automated messages, automated comments or lists and forms, and that I kind of stuck in there that would say, let's just say I had, like we used to host the Big Weight Loss Challenge, and they had a subscribe form. It was a Adobe form. I forget what it was called. I forget what the program is to make fillable forms. But in there was a little checkbox that was already automatically checked off that said, yes, I want to stay up to date with how to reach my goal faster, blah, 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 via the newsletter. And all that gets automatically sent to the secretary, which sees that, she punches that into the computer, and then becomes subscribes. And like I said, I just talk about the newsletter list a lot, and send it out to everybody I can. When I started building my list, it was like, my mom, my dad, my sisters, 10 friends, and I added my 3 email accounts. That way I could build my list up. But it's amazing if you're sending good quality content, how fast your list is going to grow. And I'm going to show you in future letters. I'm actually going to give you templates on how to write properly, how to write ways that sell, and how to get good content out there. So anyways, I hope this helped. I'm sure there's a ton of other ways. I'm just kind of drawing a blank right now. As soon as I get more ideas, guys, I'll send them to you. I'll add links below this video. And again, feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions. Take care.